I guess for people perhaps of my generation in their 20s, we may be in danger of taking worship music for granted because there's so much of it around. And of course, here on Premier, you hear a lot of it. But just give us a bit of an insight into that time when Graham Kendrick was first emerging and these songs were being written. Because for a long time, according to what you detail in the book, worship hadn't really been done in that way. And it was perhaps a little bit more rigid or structured.
Yeah, the church was very formal at the time, and really the worship or the songs, the hymns, the 3 or 4 hymns, were seen as a warm up to the preach.
Right.
Definitely, the preach was definitely the thing that everyone came to, and the big pulpit and all these things. But basically, as Tozer said, the Holy Spirit was poured out on the church in Britain, 60s charismatic movement, and then people really wanted to worship. And so the importance of expressing our worship became a priority. And then there was a whole thing then of people wanting new songs to sing, people feeling inspired to write new songs.
Yeah.
And so they started to come, and it was interesting because with Graham, especially with Graham Kendrick, because he was actually a very well-known folk artist, contemporary Christian music artist.
Right.
And so, but he was also filled with the Holy Spirit, and then he wanted to write worship songs. He wasn't happy with the songs that he heard, and he wanted to write great quality worship songs. So what happened is that God changed the hearts of the musicians, and they started to care about worship. And so those guys got involved. The good songwriters started to write good new worship songs, and so they were introduced. But it was definitely acoustic guitar and sandals and socks. I don't know, that was kind of thing. And it was, and I remember the first time we produced an album for Graham called "Let God Arise," and he said that he didn't think we should have any electric guitar on it.
Really?
Yeah. So what happened was we finished the tracking early, so we had a few £100 left over in the recording budget. And I persuaded him to let me try some electric guitar on a few of the tracks.
So that was sort of still controversial, was it?
It was controversial, and but I think it was just finding the players who were sensitive and weren't gonna and skillful.
Yes.
And weren't gonna rock out, and they're gonna play the right part or the right part for the right song.